welcome back to the podcast. Halloween weekend. It's starting to get serious, of course. Teams, we always say, going into November, managers are always under pressure if things aren't going too well. And we've got an absolutely bumper game on Sunday with Arsenal taking on Liverpool. The two boys are here, and we're going to discuss Arsenal against Liverpool, how both teams have started this season, what we expect to happen on Sunday, and where it would leave both teams depending on the outcome of the result. We'll also go ahead and look at the rest of the weekend's games, including West Ham versus Man United, Chelsea versus Newcastle. So stick with us for the end of the show for that. But mostly this show will be Arsenal and Liverpool, as it is a big game this weekend. Owen, Stefan, how are you?
Good. Can't complain. There's also a big match tonight as well for me and you, Gareth.
Derry City, of course, tonight. 2 games to go. Ireland they be league champions. Not going to be easy. Already some pats, but I will chat about that later next week. Hopefully it goes well. But let's start talking about Arsenal versus Liverpool, lads. It's a big game on Sunday, and I have to say I'm quite surprised that we're going on under these circumstances with how both teams have started this season. Stefan, let's start with you. Because it's probably a bigger game for Arsenal than it is for Liverpool. And Arsenal have a lot of injury problems, suspensions as well in there. How are you feeling ahead of Sunday's game?
In terms of injuries, we have the equivalent of Liverpool having Van Dijk out, Trent out, and potentially Salah. So we have some major injuries, but as Arteta said today in the press conference, that's not an excuse. We have to deal with that, and I still think Liverpool, just like last season, are overrated based on their current record. Owen can hold his head like he did last season, but in the end, I was completely right and he was wrong because I predicted that they would drop off. And
who actually won a trophy last season, though?
Well done. You won a League Cup. Nobody's going to give a shit about that in 5 years. So it's fine. I honestly, I've told Gareth this. I don't care about the League Cup. So if you want to celebrate League Cups and tell me that's why you had a better season than Arsenal, okay. But just the final thing is, even though winning that, I just want to ask you, Owen, just before we start the discussion, do you think if you had actually won the league, do you think Klopp would have left? Because I don't think so. He realized a long time ago that he was behind Arsenal now. He was already behind Man City, and he just couldn't deal. He's done this before at Dortmund, and he just couldn't deal with it. So let's see. The Liverpool fans are getting giddy again, like last year when they came to the Emirates and they were in a similar vein of form.
Yeah, you were 5 points behind them, and then that was a big game to go 8 points.
Yeah, so they were they were saying they were going to beat us, this and that, and we destroyed them in that game. So let's see. Arsenal have key players missing. I'm looking forward to the game to see. Arteta, as you know, is a hockey coach. He lies about the injuries consistently, and from what I've read on Twitter in terms of from the Arsenal in the nose, I think Saka will definitely play. I think there's a chance Timber will play, and Calafiori supposedly also should be okay. So I think he's definitely lying when it comes to injuries. So let's see. But even if we don't have these players, I'm not going to come up with excuses. Will I be happy with a draw if we don't have all these key players? I'm going to be honest. Yes.
Owen, Stefan sort of set the scene there. Kind of feels that Liverpool started well, but could be very similar to last season where they aren't sustaining it. Two very different styles. The Liverpool teams, it's not the same kind of Liverpool team Klopp had. Stefan makes a good point there about Klopp. Had Klopp's style of play ran its course at Liverpool, did they need to go a different way to win the league? And do you think this kind of new style of play gives them a bit more of a foundation to do it?
I don't know if it gives us a better foundation to do it, but we're a lot more solid at the back in this new style of play, which I've seen in the last few weeks, which is good. We still concede a lot of shots, but in terms of goals conceded, we're not conceding a lot of we're not conceding a lot of goals. Like we've only conceded I think, 5 in all competitions, and especially when we have our our best goalkeeper out, which is which is
Really, is he? Has he been your best keeper? Because I don't know, Allison the last year and a half has not been the same keeper. Let's be honest, Owen.
he's still better than Keller. But
I don't know. After every time I watch Gallagher, he wins you games. He won you the League Cup final yesterday against Leipzig. Although Arne Slot thought you controlled the game, made the 2 biggest saves of the day, especially the one-on-one with Sesko.
it was very good. Yeah.
I don't understand why Liverpool fans are down. I've spoken to quite a few Liverpool fans, and I've never heard, including you now, they're not really high on Kelleher. Like they just
No, Gareth will hit you. I love Keller. I've been saying
I think the problem is they believe so much in Allison, don't they? But Stefan, let's start talking about Arsenal here. We will come and talk about Liverpool afterwards. I think me and you spoke about this last season, and you were right to point out that whilst they were very, very good, Arsenal, they have been fortunate with injuries. And that fortune seems to have gone. They seem to be getting injuries, even freak ones this year. The Calafiore one, for example, during the week was a bit of a freak injury. Suspensions as well. So, I mean, is that just sometimes how things can go, or do you think has Arteta overplayed certain players and that's why they've picked up some injuries this season?
I mean, I wouldn't call us fortunate with injuries. Last season, we had Timber out for the whole year. I think he has shown this season how much of a contributor he would have been last season if he wasn't.
Sorry, what I mean was Saliba and Gabriel played every game. You know,
yeah, I mean,
played every game.
Saliba should be playing in this game. You know, of course, Arsenal again have to break records and make history by being the first ever red card in Premier League history to be overturned from a yellow to a red for being the last man. But you know, there was a similar incident again for Chelsea, which
we'll talk about that very shortly.
But yeah,
just on the injuries, do you feel it's just bad luck, or do you feel that maybe Arteta's overplayed?
For me, it's bad luck. But I would prefer to have these injuries now than to have them in March, April, May.
Yeah.
So I just think based on the number of fixtures, I think every club is going to get it. I think I still do think Arsenal have shown a really impressive way to rotate these actual players. I think, you know, any team dealing with, look at Man City. I know Man City have won their games, but they really haven't been convincing. Arsenal have got 3 red cards in the first 8 games. And if you look at the metrics, if we're just going to focus on stats, Arsenal with 11 on the pitch are by far the best team in terms of XG, in terms of everything. So I'm not really concerned. I just think I just want to see, you know, Mikel Merino play with Odegaard and just see everybody play in their, you know, positions. I think overall we're a better team than Liverpool. I know Darren can come out and say they're the best defense in the league. Yeah, because you've played only against shit teams. Now you have an actual serious game. Yeah. You can talk to him about beating Man United at Old Trafford. They are 12th. The only good team that you have played this season was Chelsea at home, in which they didn't give a clear penalty to Chelsea at 0-0. I don't know how that wasn't looked. You have gotten. I'm warning you again, just like last season. It is the same patterns I see as last season. Your midfield is open, just like last season. The only difference is this season is that Van Dijk, it's the same. Van Dijk and Konate have started really well this season, just like last year. The moment Konate gets injured, which we know will happen because he is injury prone, he's going to come back, and you know how he comes back after an injury. Not very good. So the moment that happens and everything has to go through Van Dijk again, we will talk again. I'm just going to say this. But hey, that's just me. I know this is just banter and stuff, but I'm not this hype about Liverpool. Me and Gareth, actually, if you remember, Gareth, in the preseason predictions, we spoke about this. We said, Gareth, the first 15 games for Slot are perfect. He's going to go on that honeymoon period.
Well, they've got a few top games coming up. I think this will be a real test on Sunday, and despite Arsenal's injuries, I still expect Arsenal to give them a proper game. Owen, a lot of talk about officiating, and I want to come to you because you're one that always hammers the officials. I even remember one stage last year you said to me, Liverpool are being harshly done by. Do you feel that referees are like a lot of Arsenal fans are saying that they're biased towards Arsenal? The same referees that are put on the same matches. Jarrett Gilly, for example, is a name that comes up quite a lot. And that referee that refereed the game on Saturday, Jones as well. I can't remember his first name.
Simon Jones.
Simon
No,
Jones.
Was it Simon? Well, anyway,
I think
the referee on some and Jarrett Gilly as well has been on VAR a few times and is supposed to be rumours of him being a Liverpool fan. So, do you feel that Arsenal have been hard done by in them decisions this year? We've seen a lot of players kicking the ball away. Yes, it has resulted in a yellow card at times, but I haven't seen anyone else sent off like Declan Rice. The last man, you could argue, that was very similar but not the same.
Szoboszlai.
The Anfield game.
I can tell you one Szoboszlai. Yeah.
Aye. So, I mean, have Arsenal been unfortunate with these red cards, do you think?
The Rice one, yes, but the other two, I don't think so. No, they are
really. If Mohamed Salah had kicked the ball 0.7 seconds after the whistle, Liverpool fans would not have been in uproar about him getting sent off with Arsenal 2-1 up.
Probably,
do you believe? Sorry, I'll come back to you, Stefan. But do you believe there is bias in these officials? Because every week now we're seeing, Gary O'Neill's not happy with the officiating. Arsenal fans aren't happy. Liverpool weren't happy last year when the VAR thing against Spurs went off. Do you think there is bias?
There is certain referees favour certain teams. I'm not going to get away from it, but I don't know. I don't know if it's like a purpose, if they're doing it on purpose, or if it's just a thing that they have. But there's definitely something there, in my opinion. Anyway.
Gareth, how can you go? Yeah, wait. How can you, as a ref, go and do consulting activities in the UAE, which everybody knows the UAE royal family owns Man City, get paid thousands of pounds for that, and you think there's no conflict of interest? Right? For example, the goal against Wolves that was disallowed at first, because everybody tells me, Stefan, by the letter of the law, Declan Rice should have been sent off. And I agree, by the letter of the law, yes. But when I see Dominic Szoboszlai crossing the ball at a yellow card, 1-0 down to Nottingham Forest, out of literally 5 seconds after the whistle and not getting anything. When I see Gravenberch against Chelsea kicking the ball away twice, not getting anything. When I see Erling Haaland assaulting Saliba, kicking the ball away, and then throwing the ball after they equalize at Gabriel's head and not get even a yellow card for any of those three incidents, I get frustrated and say, yes.
Do you believe they've made a rod for their own back with these time-wasting incidents? Because it's impossible to book every player for everyone, because you're going to miss a few.
Everybody time wastes. Everybody time wastes. Man City time waste. Liverpool time. Every big team. Every big team time wastes.
Arsenal are the worst for it, though.
Okay, but Man City, but Man City time wastes just as much. The thing with me is okay, apply these harsh conditions, but stop giving me this letter of the law bullshit, because the letter of the law says that the Man City goal against Wolves should have been disallowed, Gareth, because I read the rule book. If the person is within the periphery of the goalkeeper, he is inherently influencing him. So by the letter of the law, even if it's clearly, in my opinion, it should have been a goal. But if we're going to apply the letter of the law to Arsenal, okay, and to all these incidents where, I mean, the red card for Saliba, the depths that Sky Sports went to, they were showing, and I thought it was a psyop. They were showing the top speeds reached by Ben White and by Evan Nilsson. Have you ever seen anywhere?
Did you think it was a red card?
In my opinion, yes, it was. But if it's VAR and he gave a yellow card, did I think that it was a clear and obvious mistake? No. And that's why Arsenal, again, had to make history for being the first team where the last man, the first ever decision to be overturned from a yellow. And not only that, to then watch the next day where the Chelsea guy, Colwell, was clearly behind everything, and the guy was the last man, and to not give him a red card, I flipped, and I'm fed up of complaining about refs. I've told you guys this for a long time. They need to fire every single ref from the British FA hire all the refs from Europe that are good. The Polish guy, the Turkish guy is really good. Hire all of them, or start from the grassroots. There's bound to be better referees. A championship.
To be fair though, in Europe this week we were denied a stonewall penalty as well. So
Athletic Madrid were hard done by as well.
But okay, but here's the thing, right? Every week we talk about controversies with the ref. Compare that to the champ. Even though the Liverpool game, yes, was it a penalty? I do think it was. Even though I do think it wasn't as blatant as like, oh my God, like it was a penalty. But did we talk about the ref apart from that mistake after that, Owen? I thought he had a very good game for Liverpool Leipzig.
Yeah, it was decent.
The problem I think they have is the lack of consistency with the VAR. 1 week they'll give something, and then the next week. But is that to be expected, Owen? Because it's different referees on different days. They're always going to see things differently. And do we forget that? Yes, they are supposed to be professional, but they are going to make mistakes. I mean, professional footballers miss chances. They make mistakes. Goalkeepers make mistakes.
They do, yeah. But it's the constant. It's how often they're making the mistakes. It's like it's not as if I made one mistake. They're making 5, 6, 7 mistakes a game.
Do you think if there was a referendum on VAR where the fans decided, not the clubs, they would abolish it across the board?
Guys, here's the key issue. Here's the key issue as to show you how crap the referees are in the Premier League. Do we hear this? Do we ever hear that there should be a referendum in La Liga or in Serie A or in Liga? No. Why? Because the refs there are actually good. The refs are actually people should have had a red flag or should have seen the warning, the red light when I think was it for Euro 2021 or was it for the World Cup where not one single ref from the Prem was chosen to go.
Yeah,
that should have. The FA should have been like, instead of Howard Webb doing PR blowjobs on every single channel that he's doing, cracking up about, this and that, this decision about which team he supports. Maybe how about you have unlimited amounts of money, unlimited amounts of tech. How about hire better refs? Michael Oliver is your representative for the whole Prem. Jesus Christ.
So you both believe that Oliver's on the back pocket then?
Yep.
No,
worst about it is he's a Newcastle fan who are also
the problem is I don't know how they can go along with that. It would be shameful of him to be refereeing games where he's favouring Man City constantly. Even though there is that agenda out there.
No, but wait, guys, how about hire refs from the south, huh? Have you seen the refs? They're all from the north. They're all from either Liverpool area or Manchester.
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. I can't explain that to me.
I have no. Who's reffing the Liverpool Arsenal game? Anthony Taylor. Where's he from? Manchester.
He's from Manchester. Yeah. How is that? If I'm a Liverpool fan, I'll be like.
Well, Anthony Taylor was the same referee that gave Liverpool a penalty against Wolves. So I don't get that argument. Where he's from.
No, but what I'm saying is, if he makes a mistake, that's going to be the narrative. Oh, he's from Manchester.
Chelsea fans have the problem. No way every club has a referee. It's Michael Oliver. No. Arsenal, I think it's Chelsea fans that don't like Anthony Taylor because he's been seen to be given.
True, yeah. He always.
I don't understand why Anthony Taylor would have anything against Chelsea if he's from Manchester. I don't.
But Owen is right. Yes, although at heart and from a plain professional's point of view, there probably is no problem. However, you need to take away that narrative, the potential for that narrative or for that excuse.
What I would say, Stefan, is I do agree with you that the referee last week should not have been refereeing Bournemouth Arsenal if he's a Liverpool fan and Liverpool playing Arsenal next week.
Jared Gillette. Okay, you say every person makes a mistake. I agree with you, Gareth. They should, you should be able. But Gareth, that same referee that we named, Jared Gillette, he was the one 2 seasons ago that made the mistake with Arsenal Brentford at home, where he completely missed an offside. How is this guy still? And he continues to make mistakes. But here's the point: there's no repercussions for these refs. There's no accountability.
They just get.
Even not just the VAR, but the referee that was refereeing the game is also a Liverpool fan. He's not allowed to referee Liverpool or Everton.
No, Gareth. How about
where did this come from? I haven't seen this.
No, he is. He's not allowed to referee Liverpool games.
How about we apply the rugby method? How about you have interviews with the refs after the game, asking them, Owen Jones is one of the best refs I remember back in the day from Wales.
Yeah,
He would have a sit down, and they would be like, Owen, why did this was a controversial decision? Why did you decide here to give a penalty for this? And he sits down with the interviewer and explains to him, I saw it this way.
I think that the issues in rugby is a bit different because it's one, you can hear everything they say, but two, the decisions are usually black or white. There's a lot of grey areas in football at the moment, doesn't there?
Rugby is the ultimate grey area sport.
You watch it. It's like, I mean, and the players are very honest as well. There's a lot of cheating going on between players. Players don't have that kind of rugby. You wouldn't see rugby players trying to call on the referee or they're very honest, aren't they?
But Garrett, that's why you have VAR. So if they try and cheat, they will immediately send them off. If you dive in rugby, that's a red card. If you lean in with your
rugby.
What? Sorry,
you wouldn't see anybody diving on a rugby game.
You have, but here's why nobody dives. Because in rugby, if you dive, it's a 3-month ban.
I know we've made their point there, but Owen, only come to in this one. Stefan's made a lot of good points there, but as I heard some sections of the Arsenal fan base, the ones that are merely Arteta out, have says that all these fans are making way too many excuses. At the end of the day, we were 2-1 up against Man City with 10 men, and we sat back and conceded in the last minute. We were 1-0 up against Brighton against 10 men, drew the game 1-1. And the other game there was the red card against Bournemouth. 0-0. Bournemouth are a good team, but they're not Man City, and they were very negative in their approach. I mean, could Arsenal have approached those games differently? Maybe the Man City one's a bit different because they are so good with the ball, but they are too.
It's hard to say because when you go down to 10 men, it is more difficult. But I think even with 11 men against Bournemouth, they were pretty poor. Like I think Bournemouth were great either, but I think in terms of that game, I think it was an even enough game up until the red card anyway. But I think once they got the red card, I fancied Bournemouth to go 1-1. The Brighton one, they were dominant in that until the red card, and then when was it João Pedro scored then, and I think
we were all over them. They had we would have won easily. We were in the
Stefan, as the danger that Arteta's seen so much success in what he did to Man City, who are very, very good on the ball. They hardly conceded a chance against them. Obviously, a wee bit of fortune at the end about the goal. The goal was a bit of a fluke goal. It wasn't like they made a mistake. But because he'd so much success at stopping Man City for, was it 45 minutes plus 6 or 7 minutes added on? So over 50 minutes where they completely deprived them of any real opportunities that he thought maybe he could do it against Bournemouth. But the problem is they've no threat. At times they're sitting far too deep.
No, Gareth, you cannot play from the 30th minute with a red card. And, when I hear people, it makes me laugh, especially when people said, Arsenal were negative against Man City. When Liverpool got a red card away to Man City and were positive, they lost 5-1. So just for
well, Man City one's a bit different. The more the Bournemouth one, Arsenal's 10.
The Bournemouth one, we could have won the game. At 0-0, I think it was around the 60th minute. Martinelli missed the best chance of the game. Bournemouth.
That came from a Bournemouth error more than anything else.
You can argue Bournemouth's second goal came from an Arsenal error. Their only chance of the game, they had 2 main chances, which was at the start of the second half, they had the shot from Semenya, and then their goal came from just a brilliant set piece routine, which was brilliant. So, I don't know how much Arsenal weren't playing well even, before. But do I think Arsenal would have lost the game with 11 men? No, I don't think.
Well, that's it. I think it's irrelevant that how Arsenal were playing with 30 minutes on because second halves can change. It could have changed. You know what I mean? So I think that argument that Bournemouth would have won 11-11 is ridiculous because games can change in moments. And look, I just think Arsenal need to be more positive. But Stefan, when it comes to the transfer market, right, Arteta has got a lot right. But do you think there's been a lot of money wasted in areas of the squad they didn't need? The wrong players been identified. For example, he signed Ramsdale, get rid of him, brings Ryan, and he arguably let a better goalkeeper than Martinez go. There's been a lot of money wasted in midfield with Fabio Vieira, Lokonga. They've went through so many strikers, and they still haven't really got a number 9. I'm trying to be objective because he has got a lot of good ones. You could name off.
How is naming Lokonga, who was our fourth choice, I think, fifth choice center mid.
Now, what I mean is, but he's signed a lot of players there that haven't worked out as well.
Yes,
You know,
and out of all those players, I would say 80% have been a hit. Which
yeah, but for
every
example, the glaring issue I think for them was somebody to come on to give Saka a break, and somebody that was good enough they challenge maybe. No, obviously Saka's going to play, but maybe like a Pedro Neto, and always injury prone, but a player like that, wee bit different. And also a striker, a number 9, an out-and-out number striker. They give Havertz, because they've got Havertz and Jesus, and they're both not natural strikers.
I mean, Havertz has scored the most amount of non-penalty goals apart from Haaland in 2024. So if he actually took penalties, he'd be closer. But Havertz hasn't been that bad. Do I agree about the Saka replacement? Yeah, we do need, but who is available? That it's kind of like the Salah argument, which is, who is available that can come close to Mohamed Salah, because Bukayo Saka is, for the last 2 seasons, playing to kind of similar levels. He's one of the best players in the Premier League. Would I have tried to sign Kudus? Yes, but West Ham didn't want to sell him. Bowen for me is also another player who I would have liked at Arsenal. Again, he's on a long-term contract. West Ham don't want to sell him. So for me, it's much easier said to say, yeah, we should have said. I agree, but which players? Like the striker position, Osimhen, Napoli wanted 150 million. He's injury prone, nowhere near worth that. Isaac, Newcastle wanted 200
Do you think Solanke would have been a good player for Arsenal?
No. He's not.
His hold-up play is actually quite good. And he's
so is
Kai
Havertz is better at building up play than Solanke. So what's
even for example, he's pressing. He's an aerial threat as well. And
Kai
I've seen
Havertz,
some of the goals he scored for Spurs. He's a bit of a poacher.
Kai Havertz is the best pressing forward in the league. Like in terms of pressing, there is no better. I think the only player that wins the ball more pressing wise is the guy who he's benched, which is Jesus. So
you don't think Solanke would have made this Arsenal squad any better? I'm just giving you how
I'll tell you why. Because Solanke isn't a level raiser. Solanke's a good player. He presses well. He works hard. Havertz does all those things and is a better player overall. So for me, in my opinion, there are only 3 players that I would say that were level raisers that we bring in as a number 9. Those are Isaac, as a number 9, Gyökeres from Sporting, and let me think.
Gyökeres has surprised me. He looks a real top talent.
Yeah, this is quality. This is what I mean. Solanke, he's good, but he's nothing. He's not gonna raise this Arsenal team. He's not going to raise.
The only reason I mentioned him was because it was a striker that was bought in the summer.
But let me ask Owen, because you asked me, Owen, would you pay 65 million for Solanke?
Nope.
Exactly. Thank you. I wouldn't either.
Right. So let's answer this, because it's actually my next question. I want to start with you, Owen, for this one. Paul Merson has said that a defeat for Arsenal on Sunday and they're out of the title race. Meets has also asked that question. He says, I don't agree with it. What do the boys think? Is it too early to write a team off? Even if they do lose, they'll be 6 points behind Man City, you'd expect, because they should beat Southampton, and 7 behind Liverpool. We're only going into November. There's lots of time to make around. But Paul Merson's, will they be 7 behind? Yeah. So, but Paul Merson's argument is you already need Man City to lose 2 games, and they only lost 3 last year. And that's Arsenal being perfect. Of course, Arsenal were outstanding in the second half of the season last year. I don't necessarily agree with it, Owen, but it puts them under huge pressure. Would you not say? Because they can't make too many more mistakes.
It does, but Paul Merson's an idiot. That's all it is. So if anyone puts stock in his football, I think he said earlier on the season that he said something mad as well about Liverpool finishing like 8th or something. So I don't know. He's no,
it was Spurs. He said
Spurs.
That.
They'll not be out of it, but it puts them under big pressure because Arteta, as I've said before, needs to win one of the big trophies, and being 7 points behind Liverpool, 6 points behind Man City, it is a big gap, but it can be closed, because Liverpool have a tough run as well. So even if we do go and win on Sunday, we're not guaranteed to win.
I think Paul Merson's argument is more based on being 6 behind Man City, because obviously Liverpool still have a lot to prove on their new manager, but the way he looks at it is Man City have a 6 point head start on you, And traditionally in the second half of the season they're very strong. I know Arsenal were last year, but he believes that gap then, if it goes to 9 points, for example, it would be incredible. Stefan, what do you think?
I disagree. I think even if we lose to Liverpool, I still think we're finishing ahead of Liverpool, and I'll tell you why. Our starting schedule is extremely tough. We have gotten Man City away, out of the way. We will get Newcastle away and Chelsea away next. We have gotten Spurs away also out of the way. So all of the games that we're going to play pretty much in all of the top 6 are going to be home games. So we're much more likely to win those towards the end of the season. The only difficult game we have is, I think, our second last game is at Anfield. If there is some sort of intrigue there. So for me, our schedule has been far, far tougher, especially.
They have been tougher, Stefan, but you've actually had good results in those games. You could argue that the one against Spurs and the one against Villa they've lost 10 points now with the Brighton result and the Bournemouth result.
Yeah, but if you look at the points that we have lost, I would say apart from Bournemouth, we lost those points because we were 10 men. I still say to this day, only sore kind of Arsenal haters. Arsenal, if they had 11 men against Man City, we would have won that game. We were bullying Man City. They could not deal with us physically.
Is this red card thing becoming an issue for you? They've had more than anyone under Arteta, 18.
It's crazy. Yeah, I saw the stat. Like, I think
the same if you see back as well.
No, since Arteta has taken over, we have got 19 red cards, and the closest team I think was Chelsea with like 12 or 13.
And if I remember right, obviously I can't remember every one, but I can't remember like a horror tackle in there. It's all been for like kicking the ball away, ill-disciplined.
No. They have been. I remember when we
Xhaka got sent off
for
the ones that stick out. The Martinelli one against Wolves where he got 2 yellow cards.
Again, historic. Getting two yellow cards in the space of 2 seconds. Where have you ever seen that? And of course, who was the ref, guys? Guess who was the ref?
And then there was one last season.
Exactly. Ding, 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 ding.
There was one last season where Kovacic should have been sent off, but he wasn't.
What a shock! He wasn't. And then not only that, when Bernardo Silva, I remember it was a home game. We were all over them. It was 1-0 to Arsenal. And then Bernardo Silva was falling, but because Gabriel had just pulled his shirt slightly, Michael Oliver had to give it. And he also didn't give a penalty. Odegaard, Ederson went through him to get the ball. It was a clear foul.
Remember that one?
Yeah, didn't look at it, didn't do anything. But for Man City, always, and it's the same thing. The most ridiculous one, though, by far, Michael Oliver has to take the cake here. Was last season they were at home to Fulham. Okay, there was a corner. I don't know if you remember, a corner across. Yeah, the guy heads the ball.
Yeah,
the Man City player is in an offside position. Jumps and lets the ball through his legs, so he's in an active position to move away from the ball, and the goal gets counted. But Michael Oliver, again,
the VAR didn't intervene. The VAR should have made that call.
Because there's a report about Michael Oliver doesn't like being sent to the screen or nothing.
Well, Stefan, that question that Darren asked there was a stat on Monday Night Football the other night where Arsenal have such a low one-in percentage when they get only 10 men compared to some of the other teams. So, yes, 10 men is difficult, but I mean, they can't be using that as an excuse if they got only 10. They know the challenges of it. Our teams have won games with 10 men.
Okay, Darren.
We went through the 10 men against Newcastle last year and came back.
Yeah, and got supreme. I remember that game. You got so lucky. Newcastle missed. Allison won you that game. Let's be honest, Owen. You got lucky in that game. It was
there for teams.
Okay, yes.
But they still showed a bit of intent to go and win the game.
Yeah, okay. And then but Darren also doesn't mention when they went down to 10 men against Man City and they lost 5-1. Do you remember that game?
You're going back a fair few years or so.
Yeah, okay. So like it's Arsenal are negative. Now they before they said Arsenal played too defensive football. I don't know. I was watching Liverpool yesterday against Leipzig. Darwin Núñez was playing more in center.
We're going to talk about Liverpool actually. Owen, we'll start with you before Stefan gets involved. Liverpool have won their last 4 games in all competitions by 1 goal. They have been decent at the back. They have been resilient at times. But you do feel that the Wolves game could have went either way. The Palace game, yes, you were dominant for a large period, but
No,
they missed a
weren't.
couple of chances towards the end. They
Yeah,
possibly should
yes,
have
they
had a
were.
penalty as well. The Chelsea game was a coin.
Palace missed chances. Do you not remember?
Yeah, they did. Chelsea was a coin toss. It could have went either way. And the
Chelsea
Leipzig game the
revenge.
other night dominated for large spells, but Leipzig had their chances as well. Are you cutting it too close with these fine margin ones? Are they eventually going to bounce the other way if it's constantly 1-0s and 2-1s?
They can do, but I remember years ago the early saga used to be 1-0 to the Arsenal, so they weren't complaining back then when they were winning games by 1-0 or 2-1. So why can't Liverpool? But no, it is going to. We do need to kill games off because we are creating a lot of chances. The other night against Leipzig, we should have won by 2 or 3. And again, yes, they had their chances, and we had to rely on Kelleher. But as we're going at the minute, like, I'm not going to sit here and complain that we're winning games.
Yeah, but the danger is, right, I don't care if you're the best defensive team that ever walked the earth. Any team that's 1-0 up with 10 minutes to go will come under a wee bit of pressure because the team that has been on the back foot will throw players forward and you'll get nervous because you've been dominant for so long. And we see it a lot in the Premier League. Teams can nick results that they didn't really necessarily deserve. And Stefan, that'll be the worry that even though some of them games they have dominated, they've not really finished off the opposition and they have been kind of hanging on towards the end.
I watch Liverpool and it's yes. Do they play with a better defensive structure, not as much chaos and a little bit more control? Yes, but if you see Liverpool's best moments in any game, it is Klopp's method that works the most. Liverpool's best moments in any game is when they press really high, they win the ball high up on the pitch, just like under Klopp, and then they break really quickly. The moment against Leipzig, they started trying to pass the ball around. It was around like the 70th minute where they were trying to kill the game. Kanate made a horrendous mistake, and Sesko should have scored from that mistake.
I remember.
They make mistakes because I just don't think they have the players, apart from maybe McAllister and Gravenberch, I would say, that are possession type players. Even Trent, for me, his natural game is to play those defense splitting passes, those diagonal balls. I think he's a far better player when he's much more direct.
Szoboszlai struggling too in this system.
Oh, please, Szoboszlai. I just want to say another thing that I was correct. What do you guys think about Szoboszlai? Please, Owen, tell me.
He's not been great this season. I'm not going to lie and say he has been.
No, he's great. The reason, and I'll say this: the reason.
It's actually his birthday today.
No, but the only reason why he plays is Szoboszlai runs his ass off the ball. He fills out.
To be fair, we don't have Elliot's injured as well at the moment, so he's not really getting.
Yeah, but Elliot off the ball is poor. That's why he never started under Klopp, and he wouldn't start under Slot. I think the reason why he plays Szoboszlai is because Szoboszlai is everything that Slot wants in a midfielder off the ball, which is he runs his ass off, he tackles. But Gravenberch is everything he kind of wants on the ball. So they kind of perfectly fill each, because Gravenberch off the ball.
He surprised me, to be fair.
No, he hasn't, because I remember what a big town he was at Ajax, and maybe he just needed a different type of management to what Klopp, and he needed, let's be honest,
definitely suits Slot's style of play more often.
Yeah, exactly. More calm, more slower, more possession-based football. But I think where Arsenal do have a major advantages, guys, is I'd be worried if this was your midfield, because Thomas Partey, guys, is back. I don't know if
it was good the Arnold against Shakhtar Donetsk. But
if you watch him, it's Atletico Partey. He's in the last 6 months of his deal. He's playing out of his skin now.
Stefan, and you well know it, that he cannot keep playing like this every week. 3 games, he will break down.
Hey, one game. As long as Partey plays the Liverpool game the same level that he is, he's better than any of their midfielders, and that includes
Owen. A lot of talk about the style of play at Liverpool. It is very different to Klopp. You know, when I seen the Chelsea game on Sunday, I couldn't quite believe it, because I'm so used to what Liverpool do. Even against the best teams, they press them from the front. They were happy to let Chelsea have the ball, drop back, and manage the game. Even at 0-0, they were doing that in the first half, and they were kind of, most of their chances were coming from counter-attacks, which we know they can do as well because they don't run their clock. But are the fans enjoying the style of play, do you think, or are they just enjoying the results at the moment? Because even when they had defeats under Klopp in the early stages, I think Liverpool fans were very happy because they played on the front foot. They were attacking. They were great to watch. And once Klopp had more experience with his style of play of the squad, he improved the squad with better players. They were electric to watch, and they really smaller teams in their pomp. You kind of feel at the moment that when they play Arsenal on Sunday, if this had been Klopp's team, yes, they could lose. But with the injuries that Arsenal have and suspensions, they would probably go for the killer and try and blow them away. Slot's team is not going to do that on Sunday, are they? They're going to play a patient game.
It's just we just have the people are too Klopp this, Klopp that. Klopp's not there anymore. It's not Klopp's team. It's Slot's team now, and we just have to get used to this style of play. Yes, is it a bit boring at times? Is it a bit hard to watch at times? Yes, but I said to you last time I was on here, once we get to the final third, we can hit teams. And to be fair, it's not as if we're sitting backs against the wall, defend. So I do think it's been blown out of proportion. And as I said to you, just because you think Spurs are 1970s Brazil because they play because they play like that every week, it doesn't.
It's not so much that. It's not so much that. I just think with this style of play, they're going to have to win, or the fans are going to get fed up with. I don't know what you think, Stefan. I mean, if fans aren't watching enjoyable football.
Gareth, you're making it out to be as if Liverpool played Diego Simeone tactics.
I know, that's what I'm
you're making it out to be as if they're playing like, I don't know, like Ten Hag football almost. Like the football is so bad that the fans are going to revolt. How about the fact that maybe Klopp's method, although it won them one league, I honestly didn't think you could sustain that type of level. That's why I think they fell short against Man City, which was the players. I would say the Klopp's football, the intense style, first generates more injuries than the.
What I'm going to say is, right, Chelsea had almost 60% of the ball at Anfield on Sunday. Will the fans accept that if they lose the game, start losing games? I don't think they will.
Okay, and tell me what in terms of, although yes, Chelsea.
Who won the game in the end?
No, that's exactly it. They won, but if they hadn't won, I think there would have been fans going, "Well, this was boring," and we let Chelsea do what they want.
But Slots realized one thing, right? Last season, going forward-wise, Liverpool can hurt anybody. Klopp has invested so much money in that.
Expand the percentages.
No, but he has Salah. Literally, Salah. If Liverpool fans have to pray he stays fit, because if Salah gets injured, they are. Because people say Arsenal,
he knows with Van Dijk, he's got a solid defender, and he knows he's going to kill.
I'm disagreeing here. In my opinion, their most important player is Mohamed Salah, not Van Dijk.
But them two are really important. But that's what I'm saying. Salah doesn't need too many chances to win a game, so they don't have to create that much of the.
But he's not only. They know they can. They didn't. Let's be honest, Owen. You guys didn't play well. I thought Chelsea, in terms of footballing wise, were better than you for 60% of the game. Yeah, they were. I would say they were better than them because they won the midfield battle. In my opinion,
I just think Gareth has PTSD because he has Timo Werner to watch every week.
Yeah, true.
Not anymore.
But Gareth, going back to your point, but going back to your point, Slot maybe has realized maybe if I just put the handbrake on a little bit on the high defensive line, on the all-out, gegenpress football, heavy metal type football. Maybe we can find a better balance between defense and attack, because he knows that if you push Konate and you force him to do those sprints that he has to cover two positions under Klopp, which was right back and center back, he will get injured. Yep. And maybe he feels like, I'm one injury away from playing Joe Gomez.
I'm not sitting here saying we're going to win every week, because we're not. But I'm saying, like, if we lose a couple of games, I'm not going to be all slot out. What's this? You have to be realistic with it too.
How do you think Liverpool will approach this game on Sunday? Are they going to go and pressure Arsenal? Do you think? Or are they going to let Arsenal have the ball and play a patient game?
I can't see any reason why he won't play the same way he did against Chelsea.
Look, but that's Arsenal that kind of possession, isn't it, Stefan?
Arsenal aren't, in terms of now without Odegaard, we're more direct now. But if I was Liverpool, I'd be concerned about set pieces, because they're not the biggest team now. Arsenal are, if we play Merino, Declan Rice, and Partey in the midfield, that's a far more physical and bigger team than Liverpool. So Arsenal should have that advantage, but Liverpool still have good players. Like people McAllister is a really good player. I'm honestly, Salah, and I really hope he plays Gakpo over Nunes because I don't get the hate Liverpool fans have for Nunes. I think he's a far better player than Luis Diaz or Gakpo. If I'm as an Arsenal fan, I would rather those two play over Gakpo or Nunes.
But the problem being, if Nunes gets all the chances on Sunday, there's a chance he might miss them, whereas Salah will be clinical.
He scored the winning goal. People say he might miss them. Last season, he scored more goals than Luis Diaz. He scored more goals than Luis Diaz. He scored more goals than Gakpo. Tell me if I'm wrong. Didn't he score more goals than Jota last season, Owen?
I think so.
Most
but
of them were.
Okay, but availability is a key ability.
Yeah, so Stefan, how many did he miss in big moments that cost Liverpool points? That's the problem as well.
Okay, but everybody misses big chances.
And you have to remember this: Liverpool team aren't creating as many chances as they were under Klopp.
I disagree. I think Liverpool, when he plays, are far more threatening and far more chaotic.
It's not just these chances. It works hard back for the defense as well. He sprints. He works his backside off the team as well. That's what I like.
Yeah, he does. No, he's
a big threat. He's a big threat. But the problem I would have as a Liverpool fan, if I was, you don't know what you're going to get when he's through and goal.
Put it this way: would you rather Nunes or Werner in your team?
Well, I would rather have anyone over him.
But
if you're comparing him to Timo Werner, you're struggling. Would I have him over Solanke? Never in a million years. Never in a million years.
See, Owen, this is what I mean. This is how many goals has Solanke scored this season? In how many games? What did he do? Tell me, because it's the same thing.
Well, he's only played a few games, but he scored 3 or 4 goals, I think.
Against who? Ferencváros?
They didn't score against them.
Okay,
he scored against Brentford. Qarabağ, and he scored against Man United.
Tremendous. Man United are 13th, and I think Brentford are 15th or 16th.
Well, Menes Nunes scored 1.
Yes, he scored against Leipzig yesterday. The winning goal. I think he scored against Bournemouth, right?
He scored 1 against Bournemouth too. Yeah.
So it's like, Nunes he has played far less minutes than Solanke. But suddenly now, because Solanke plays for Spurs, I guarantee you, if Arsenal had signed Solanke or Liverpool had signed Solanke, people would be saying, Spurs fans would be saying, he's not worth 65 million.
I didn't say he was worth it, but I said I would rather he's more reliable than Darwin Nunes.
How is he more reliable? He's had 1 good season. One that you signed him off.
In the last 12 months. We've seen enough of Nunes. They know what he's like.
So 5 shit seasons, including 3 with Liverpool,
yeah, but that's
1
all
with
irrelevant.
Bournemouth.
That's all irrelevant. You're judging.
How is it all irrelevant?
Because it was a long time ago.
Darwin
right,
Nunes.
If we look at Darwin Nunes at Benfica,
he was ridiculous. He was ridiculous.
We've not seen that Darwin Nunes at Liverpool.
What do you mean? He scored over 20 goals last season. How many goals did he score?
Most of them were in the Europa League.
Yeah, like.
You just wait.
If Solanke does the same thing, you always say he's the best in the world.
Yeah, wait.
Solanke can't hit up Aaron Door in the Premier League and he's scoring against crap teams, I'll call him out for it.
But he is. He currently is doing that. He scored only against Qarabağ. He did nothing against Arsenal. Did nothing against. Did he play against Newcastle or was he injured? I forgot.
No, he didn't play against.
He was injured. Okay, the only team he did something against was Man United. That's it. He did nothing.
He was excellent on Sunday or on Saturday against West Ham.
Did he score a goal?
Doesn't matter, but he contributed massively.
Okay, did he score a goal?
If I say that to you about Nunes, though, you always say, but he's not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but Solanke's been setting up goals as well.
So does Nunes.
No. You got Owen. You got to understand. After watching with Richarlison for 2 years, if I go and play number 9, they would be saying I'm amazing too. So
here, we're getting off track. We'll talk about Spurs. Owen, a lot of talk about these 3 boys. Are they going to sign contracts? What's your gut tell you about the 3 players? We're moving on to November now next week. They can negotiate with foreign clubs from January the 1st.
I'm getting more confident by the day, I think Van Dijk definitely will. I'm still stuck on Trent and Salah, to be honest, but I'm more confident that they will than they won't.
Stefan?
I honestly think Trent will definitely stay. I think they cannot let the Liverpool local leave and potential future captain. I think he's got the most upside financially if you pay him big.
I mean, he
Big
probably
bucks,
will be the captain when Van Dijk leaves.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that'll be part of his new deal, to be honest. So, like, we're gonna make you captain with a new bumper deal. So,
Yeah.
Van Dijk and Salah. See here, I disagree with. I think Salah will be gone. I think Saudi
No,
Arabia is calling. I think Saudi Arabia is calling.
He's
I
too
can't
good for
see
Saudi
any
Arabia.
situation where all 3 years put on massive big contracts. I just don't see. I
I
just
just
think
yeah,
somebody will have to make way.
and the one for me, look, Salah might stay because he's still playing at a supremely top level. But the one that, from a financial, if I'm an owner, I'm not gonna pay, I'm not gonna give Van Dijk
But
a three
if they
or
lost Salah, but
4 year
he's
deal.
going to, they've lost their clinical finisher. He's not going to be easy to replace.
Yeah, no, Salah, I would say the one most likely to leave based on just, if I'm an owner and I'm looking at it financially, like, I'm not giving Van Dijk a 3 or 4 year contract.
Well,
Like, even though he's
I've said
amazing,
Van Dijk
even
is a great defender, okay, but the problem being with Salah is I just don't think you look around the Premier League. There's nobody like him apart from Bissaka.
no, and not only
it.
that, Garrett, you're forgetting that he contributes 42% of all their goals and assists. Can you imagine? You take that out. I don't care whoever you sign, you're not replacing that. You're just not.
no.
And I
Like,
think
when Salah leaves, there's going to be a big drop off for us. I didn't know that.
No, but just to finish, I think one of the reasons why, apart from the debacle with Zubamendi, I honestly think they didn't spend this window planning for the next. I honestly do, to save money just in case, because they know they're going to have to pay absolutely massive money to replace potentially Van Dijk and Salah. Because to get a top-notch center back, that is minimum 70.
There's a lot of players out there that's been linked. You think about the likes of Kudos, Bowen, good players, but they're nowhere near the level of a Salah.
No, of course not. But I would.
I mean, we're talking about a goal scorer that could finish where in the top 5 or 6 of all time goal scorers in the Premier League.
Hey, well, if Man City get charged, just go and sign full phone.
Henry was probably the best ever to play in the Premier League, and he's very close in goals and assisting now. He's very close.
No, he is.
He'll overtake Henry.
That's usually the difficulty they'll have in replacing him. You're replacing a Premier League legend.
Yeah.
No, but Garrett, that's my point about Man City. You're not going to replace De Bruyne. You're not going to. It's going to be much more difficult for them because those are generational, transformational type players. Mohamed Salah is one of those. Sadio Mane, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated players because I think Sadio Mane, at his best, was as good, if not more beneficial to Liverpool than Salah. So, those type of players you cannot replace, and it's shown because, let's be honest, Luis Diaz is not as good as Sadio Mane. Cody Gakpo is nowhere near as good as Sadio Mane. Although they're good to some degree, they haven't replaced those players fully. And Diogo Jota, for me, is the only one that I can think maybe potentially he could come close to Mohamed Salah, but he's always injured. He's injury prone.
Lads, final thoughts on the game on Sunday. We'll do the predictions at the end, but just final thoughts on Liverpool. Stefan, you've kind of wrote them off, but Owen, you've been saying they need it. Liverpool need to be taken seriously, and if they do one, they need to be taken even more seriously. Would a Liverpool one, do you think, change the narrative that this is a team that can go on and do something special this year?
Not from Liverpool fans, because I think if we win, we will be saying that. But from our fans, they'll still be saying we're getting carried away, and so it's just taking one game at a time. Like, because if we win on Sunday, I'll not be saying we're going to win the league. So if we win on Sunday, we move on to the next. That's the way I'm taking it.
That'll be the difficult thing, Stefan, won't it? If they do one, there will be so much talk around them.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this type of excuse making that Liverpool fans do now with no expectation and stuff, you still have a top squad that challenged for the league until March last year. You're still a big club. You're not Spurs, Owen, where it's no expectations FC, and we're just looking to play good football. It's the first year here, so they still have top players. They should have some sort of expectation, but I don't have such a confident feeling based on the injuries, based on who we have missing. But I don't think we're gonna lose. That's
I'll ask you for your predictions at the end. Let's look at the rest of the Premier League games. It all starts in about 1 hour's time. Friday night football. Leicester take on Nottingham Forest.
What a game!
Of course, Steve Cooper going back or playing against his former club and manager. Leicester always was the manager of Forest. That puts even more kind of pressure on this game.
Sorry to interrupt you guys. Breaking news: Timber is fit.
Timber. Well, I think Timber and Saka will play. But
Yes,
Leicester Forest.
Saka for me, guaranteed he's playing. I'm sure.
Timber
Leicester
for me. Forest. Owen, I know you'll be watching the Derry City game, but how do you see this game going?
I think even though Leicester at home, I think Forest will have too much. I'm going to go 2-0 Nottingham Forest.
Guys,
Forest seem to have fixed their away form. They seem to be a thorn now for teams away from home.
Yep. They beat us at Anfield, so that's why I'm predicting them. They
went
go
to Chelsea and got a draw as well.
Of course,
Stefan, your
you
thoughts on this game?
The worst away team in the league that's not relegated has fixed their away form because they had one solitary win against Liverpool. Because winning against Liverpool is
well,
like
they drew away Chelsea too, but and they've won.
They did actually, yeah. By the way, that Chelsea Nottingham Forest game this season, best game of the season, absolutely amazing. Game. It was crazy.
Forest, Stefan,
I disagree.
But no, that at Wolves, he seems to be at his level there, and he seems to have turned them into a team that's very difficult to beat and can cause. Wolves had so many results under Nuno against the big teams, and Forest seem to be doing that now.
No, Gareth, I just want to ask you, since you always try and do the little, with me, you always try and niggle me about Unai Emery and how was it the right choice to fire? Gareth? Was it the right choice to sack Nuno? He's
100%.
He's doing amazing work at Nottingham Forest, isn't he?
It sits him at Forest. He can play that counter-attack shit football, and the fans will mind it.
Yeah, no, I disagree with you guys.
I think he's a very good manager. He is a very good manager, but he suits a team like Forest.
No, I agree with you guys, but I think Forest are like Fulham. They're a predominantly home team. I know they've had some really good performances against the top teams. I'm not convinced yet. I think Leicester are going to win. I think Steve Cooper is a very good coach, and what he's doing with this Leicester team, basically maximizing a terrible team, I think is not talked about enough. I think Steve Cooper is a very, very underrated coach, in my opinion, because everybody had Leicester pretty much relegated at the start.
I still think they could be.
I think so too, but for me, what he's done in terms of start of the season has been far better than people expected, and I think Leicester City will beat Forest. I think it will be 2-1 to Leicester. In my opinion.
I'm gonna separate. You both went for different. I'm gonna go for a draw. I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw. No half 12 game tomorrow, so the
surprise.
Yeah, no half 12 kickoff.
Liverpool always getting fucked over with the early game.
He says he doesn't care what time the game's at. I like that. I like the way he said that. No impact at all. Villa Bournemouth. This will be a very good game, I would imagine. Villa were very poor after the last Champions League game. They were poor against Man United, so it'll be interesting to see if it's somewhere this weekend. And we know Bournemouth are a very dangerous team, and I know Stefan really rates Bournemouth. We spoke about them a number of times on this podcast. Stefan, let's start with you then. Can Bournemouth follow up with another great result against a team where they're probably going to be second favourites?
Look, I've been. I have to admit to you, because we've always been on different opinions on Emery. I've always warned you guys about the Emery effect at the end of a season. He has changed my perception this year. The Emery effect was usually he'd lose after a international break. He almost did against Everton, but they managed to win it. So
it's going to be losers after Champions League games.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see, because they have been winning. They beat Fulham last week, which was really impressive. Fulham away is a really tough game.
Yeah.
So I think
there's a couple of players at Fulham could do a job for you.
Who? Smith Rowe?
I would have Nelson over Sterling too.
You would take Smith Rowe at the minute, considering you have no creative midfielders.
Nah,
thanks Smith Rowe, to be honest. Had he go and play,
I would take no, guys. I would take the 35 million. I'm gonna be honest. No.
Yeah.
And plus, if he was playing for us now, he'd probably be injured. So yeah.
Probably.
I don't see Bournemouth as the same team away from home that they are at home, and they usually start slow. The first 10 games for Bournemouth under this coach. They're not as, I know they beat Arsenal, but they haven't been as impressive this season as they were towards the tail end of last season. So I think Villa will win this. They'll get lucky again. Martinez will make a penalty save. They'll concede chances, but Emery will win 2-1.
Owen?
I'm going to go 2-2.
Okay.
Hey, we're going this the same way again. I'm going to go for a Bournemouth 1. I think Villa will be vulnerable
What?
after the Champions League game. And Bournemouth are very, very good in the counter-attack. Semenyo, I'm very impressed with. I think Villa could be a bit leggy. And I'm going to go for a 2-1 Bournemouth 1.
2-1.
I think this game we'll probably all agree who's going to win this game. Brentford take on Ipswich at 3 o'clock. Ipswich really struggling, lads, and Brentford, despite they have taken the lead in a lot of games, they still fancy them to beat Ipswich. They beat Wolves the last time out at home, and Brentford are notoriously strong at home. And I think Ipswich will find this tough. How do you see this game going on?
I agree with you. I can't see anything but Brentford won, and maybe they might get an early goal again inside the first minute or so. But I'm gonna, and as you say, it's got a sequence of draws there in the past few weeks, but it seems they've had a brick wall and they've sort of stumbled and they loss after loss now. So I'm gonna go 2-0 to Brentford.
Stefan?
Yeah, I think Brentford are probably going to score in the first minute as usual. I don't know, guys. I like Ipswich, man. I like watching. I know they're a bit open.
The players. They just don't have the quality.
I agree, but some of their players, I really like the Delap. He's very good.
Well, that defeat doesn't score. Where's the rest of the goals coming from? And you can't have that one.
I'm not convinced by Brentford. I watched them a couple of times against. I remember watching them. Who was it against? I think it was Palace.
Well, Stefan, I actually tipped Brentford to be relegated. I
remember that prediction. That was nuts.
I think the problem is not to say that I agree with you. You don't think Brentford are convincing, but I think there's 3 worse teams on them.
Yeah, you're right on that. I think I don't think you'll be as easy because I think Ipswich really go for it every time. But I'm gonna go for a 2-1 win to Brentford.
I'll go 2-0 Brentford, same as you want. Brighton take on Wolves. This will be an interesting game. Wolves, I think everybody agrees that Wolves are probably very unfortunate. They only have 1 point. But the pressure is going to really ramp up in Garnell before this next international break. I think they've got Palace and Southampton at home after this. You would feel that he needs to get points in those games, but it would definitely help if he could get a result here. Brighton started the season well. Then they had a couple of draws. Then their season turned on that 3-2 comeback against Spurs. They followed that up with a 1 against Newcastle. Brighton, very hot and cold, Stefan, but they're a good team.
I actually read a shocking stat. Brighton have a terrible record against Wolves. I don't know if you guys know this. Wolves have a really good record against them. Brighton are a really hot and cold team. When I saw they won against Newcastle 1-0, I was like, wow, what a result. I thought Newcastle would wipe the floor with them.
I think Newcastle.
I watched the highlights. I don't know how that game ended 1-0 to Brighton.
Yeah.
Newcastle
we have Brighton 2 times in a row now. We have them in the League Cup next week and then the league next week.
Yeah. Like I thought Newcastle, based on the chances, Gary, they should have won that game easily.
Yeah. This might be a game for Wolves because Brighton will throw people forward and there could be gaps.
Yeah, Brighton played with as high as the suicidal line at Spurs. That's why I think Wolves will have a chance because Wolves, the thing they do have is speed, especially on the break. So I don't know. This coach has impressed me at times, and then I've questioned him. Like he has impressed me with how adaptive he is compared to previous Brighton coaches. He does change the system up. They play sometimes more kind of situational football where they play sometimes with a deeper defensive block. Other times they really push up. So he is more adaptive. But Wolves have a really good record, and their system is perfect for Wolves. But Wolves can't score. I'm gonna go. And you know what? I'm gonna support my bold claim. If you remember, I put Brighton in the top 4. That's not looking that bad, actually, guys.
No chance. They've got no chance.
Yeah. Okay. I've put 20 euros, guys. And if Brighton
top 4.
Yes, and listen to the odds. If Brighton get top 4, I win 800 euros. So Brighton are getting top 4, guys.
You may as well put that €20 on fire because it's sponsor.
Okay, so I'm gonna go for a really crap and lucky, like undeserved 1-0 win against Wolves.
Brighton, they won 1-0. Owen, how about you?
I'm going to go. I'm going to say it's a bit more comfortable. I'm going to go 3-1 to Brighton.
I kind of agree with Stefan that this is going to be tight, but I just think Wolves have forgotten how to win a game, and Gary Lee's going to be under huge pressure. And the M2 games, he's going to have to get at least 4 points. You would feel out of Palace and Southampton at home, but I'm going to go for Brighton. They won 2-1. Nick Nack has just joined the chat, and he's probably not going to enjoy this game tomorrow because Man City take on Southampton. Southampton, to their credit, they do have stages in games where they play well, but they cannot hold on. They cannot hold on to lead, and they shoot themselves in the foot with crazy errors.
For this one.
And Nick Nack, I can confirm that Owen is not wearing a Southampton top. That's actually a Derry City top. So you're the only Southampton fan here. Owen, give Nick Nack some confidence tomorrow that it might change.
I don't think I can. I'm gonna go 6-0 Man City.
6.
Yep.
You know what? Nick Nack's probably how Southampton haven't got more points. They play quite well in certain games, but just crucify themselves with errors. The Leicester game, up. And I mean, I thought when I seen that they're going to finally get that one. And
the reason I say 6 is because the way they played from the back, they give chances. They give chances to Leicester, and if they give them chances, Erling Haaland, he's going to have a field day.
Yeah, Russell Martin seems to be under pressure as well. Be interesting to see how much loyalty he gets. I think the next international break will be key for a lot of managers because there's no break then until March. Stefan, Owen's going pretty big with the number 6. Do you feel it'll be somewhere?
No, yeah, I agree with you guys about Southampton, how they have been unlucky. But the thing is, what they can't deal with is pressure. Every time they have a bad moment in a game where they concede. Like I remember the Man United game. They were all over Man United in the first 30 minutes. They get a penalty. They miss, and then their heads completely dropped, and Man United scored the most goals that they've scored in a game in like 2 years. And it was the same with Arsenal. Arsenal equalized, and they immediately just completely collapsed. And Arsenal could have scored 5 or 6 by the end of the game. So the thing with Chai is that Southampton do play well. I remember watching them, I think it was away to Newcastle. They completely outplayed Newcastle in that game. They should have won. But they made a defensive error where they gave the ball away trying to play out from the back, like Owen pointed out. And they immediately scored. So I'm hoping, but I still think Man City will concede. They usually concede against the smaller teams at home, like they did against Ipswich. But I think it'll be like, I don't think Man City are gonna push it to 6-1. I think they're gonna. I have 4-1 City.
I think Southampton are learning a wee bit, even though it doesn't look like it. But I do think they're learning a wee bit. But I just think City will be. I just don't see the big number coming because I think City will just keep the ball and pass it around. So I'm going to go for a 3-0. And I think Southampton. I think Nick would even take that, to be honest. I don't think Southampton.
One thing's for sure, I would keep my eye on their right winger, man. Their right winger is really, really good.
Dublin. Everton take on Fulham in the live game at 5:30. I think most of the best games are on Sunday, so you can see from that Saturday lineup, there's a lot of the bigger teams are missing because they all play on Sunday. But Everton take on Fulham at 5:30.
You get Spurs are playing on Sunday, so that's like a week. Team playing on
But Everton seem to have turned the corner. Fulham are hot and cold, but this will probably be a tight game.
And I'm gonna as much as Everton turned the corner, I do like Fulham as well, as we spoke about it. I like some of their signings, Smith Rowe, Nelson, Jimenez had a bit of form this season. I'm gonna go 1-1.
1-1. Stefan?
I'm gonna go Fulham are a terrible traveling team. Terrible. They always have one of the worst away records, and Everton are usually, when they get on a roll, they're very good at home. So I'm gonna go for a 2-0 win for Everton. And guys, officially I've changed my position now. Joe Gomez is no longer the worst defender in the Premier League that I've watched. It's Calvin Bassey, guys. Jesus Christ, he's shit.
Surely Bassey is bad.
He's so bad.
I think I'm better than him.
I'm
Yeah.
going to go. I think this is going to be a bore fest. I'm going to go for a 1-0 Everton 1. Just the
I
fact
don't
that
think I'll be watching this game.
This is unfair. Every Everton game I've watched, they create so many chances, they just can't score. And one of the most creative players in the Premier League, by the way, is McNeil.
I don't like watching them, but I think sometimes it's the struggle. It's just I just don't like it.
I suppose El Clasico's on at the same time, so I'll be watching that instead.
No, El Clasico's not 8 o'clock.
How's it not?
El Clasico's 8 o'clock UK time. Sunday, lads, it ramps up a wee bit. Chelsea take on Newcastle. Chelsea have only lost 2 games this season, and I think somebody says, I wonder are they going to be flat track bullies because they were beaten by Liverpool and Man City, but they've done quite well in the other games. Newcastle, lads, I think they're really struggling. Stefan, what's your thoughts on this game?
I actually thought Newcastle had their best performance this season against Brighton, and they lost that game. I thought performance
half an hour anyway, they were good, I think.
And they had Isaac missed 2 chances, Gordon missed a bit. Like they could have scored 2 or 3 goals. They were all over Brighton for I would say for 60%, 70% of that game. Brighton only had 1 chance, which was the Welbeck one, which he scored. So Newcastle are a very up and down team. They're usually far better at home than they are away. Last season, it was one of the only kind of good wins for Chelsea. Newcastle lost to Chelsea last year at Stamford.
Their away form, like Mac is right, their away form, Newcastle isn't great.
Yeah. So even though I still think Chelsea remind me so much of Spurs last year, it's the same. They're super fluky. Like Nottingham could have beaten them. Wolves should have beaten them. Bournemouth battered them and lost one. I don't know how Bournemouth lost that game to Chelsea. They should have won. So I think Chelsea are gonna be found out very soon. I just don't think it'll be this game. However, I think Newcastle might come out with a draw. I'm gonna go for a 2-2 draw because I think Chelsea's defense is horrendous. It's horrendous.
Surprisingly, for the first time ever, I think I'm going to agree with Stefan here and say 2-2 draw.
I'm going to go Chelsea. Go on, boys.
Crystal Palace Spurs. Oh,
sorry, Crystal Palace take on Spurs.
Let me start.
Stefan, let's come to you first, because Spurs have had a couple of bumps, but they're hitting big numbers. They're scoring a lot of goals.
Here we go.
And Palace are really, really struggling. So you're going to do well to convince me that Spurs aren't huge favourites for this game.
I actually think Spurs could lose a game 10-0 and Gareth would find a positive.
But do you know why? Owen? Because they play front foot football, even though they lose 6-0. I just don't get the Spurs. You've played well, yes, but every single good team that you have played, Gareth, you have lost to. Arsenal completely nullified you. You lost against them. Newcastle gave you the ball and played you on the break, beat you.
They were fortunate.
No, they weren't. They had a higher XG than you at the end of the game. How are they fortunate?
Wasteful and had no striker.
Okay.
There's always.
Yeah, but
the Arsenal game, fair enough. We didn't do enough in that game, but you could argue that it was a very tight game and a set piece won it. A draw would.
Yes, like every single person, I'm sure, including Owen, told you Arsenal are really good at set pieces. Maybe you should.
They weren't awful in that game. They didn't play great, but they weren't badly beaten.
Okay.
I told you that.
Wait. Here's the funniest caveat, Owen. Arsenal had no Declan Rice, no Martin Odegaard, and let's put it this way, right? 4 or 5 players.
Spurs at the moment haven't been beaten badly in any game. They've only lost by 1 goal in those games as well.
Gareth, were you asleep when you lost to Brighton? Was that not a bad defeat?
Of course, it was a bad defeat, but they played unbelievable in the first half, and they should have closed that game out.
And then you played horrendously in the second half, in which Brighton could have scored 5 or 6 goals.
It doesn't matter if you lose by 1. It doesn't matter if you lose by 1, 2, or 3.
What about the good performances? But the United game, the West Ham game, the Everton game,
the United game in which Bruno got sent off in the 40th minute. Was it the 40th minute?
They were totally dominant in that game.
They don't play well. They don't play well in that one. I will say that.
Yeah, but even in that game, Man United had big chances. I remember Garnacho at 1-0 hitting the post, hit a volley from Man United could have scored. My point is that I'm never convinced by Ange and by Spurs because every single game, Owen, I don't know, because me and Gareth always have little fights on Twitter about it on the chat in our direct message. Every single game with Ange, it is a hypothetical. It could have been or it should have been. So you could have beaten Newcastle, but you lost. The same way with Leicester. We could have beaten Leicester, but you could have lost to Leicester also based on this.
The football's all hypothetical. You said to me, if we had 11 men against Bournemouth, we probably would have won. It's all hypothetical.
No. I said I think we would. No, I said I think we would not have lost. That's what I said. I didn't say we would have probably won. Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Crystal Palace are struggling. They'll not be looking forward to playing Spurs, Stefan, will they?
I've heard about the myth of what was it called, Dr. Spurs. So yeah,
that's true.
Look for me. One thing's for sure: your away record is terrible. Nobody is talking about it enough. Apart from the Man United win, away from home, you have won 3 games. I think, and that's in the Premier League. 3 games in 15 or 16 games. The Leicester away game should tell you a lot. The Brighton away game. You cannot deal with pressure away from home. Every time a team gets on top of you away from home, you start to concede goals via Romero, the best defender in the league. So I'm not convinced. I think Palace have a lot of players that can potentially hurt you.
They can't score a goal.
And I pray it would be absolute amazing. Absolutely Nketiah to score. It would be the most Spursy thing ever, Owen. It would be amazing. It would be absolutely amazing.
No, but Palace will go in 1-2-1 tomorrow in Garble. But the football good.
But the signs are great.
I think Spurs will be pretty comfortable. I'm going to go for I'll start it off. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Spurs one.
Tell me the last away game. Apart from the red-carded Man United team, which were down in the dumps, tell me the last away game where you were comfortable.
We really struggled at the back end of last season, but
no, I'm asking you from last season also. You can say Burnley away where you won where you weren't comfortable because you lost, you conceded first, so it wasn't such a comfortable game.
Well, they
you can say Villa away where you won 4-0. That's the last away game where I think, okay, you were pretty comfortable.
Sheffield United, they beat them 3-0.
When they were already relegated.
Okay. I do think
Arsenal fans were claiming some sort of victory when they put 5 past them.
I do think Spurs I do think they'll win this though, but I do
agree. Away from home, they are a bit more susceptible.
They're not winning this. Spurs fans are making podcasts after one good Dejan Kulusevski performance. The most watched podcast for Spurs fans made a podcast about not only is Dejan Kulusevski one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. I didn't know this. He was shit against.
That's over the top. It's over the top.
No. He is now one of the best midfielders in Europe. How do you guys do this? How? I don't understand.
I think they've jumped the gun a bit early in that.
No, but I have warned you, Gareth, to stop jumping the gun. I warned you about Romero last season. I told you he's not the guy. He's nowhere near Vertonghen or Toby Alderweireld. He's proven it this season. I don't know how he hasn't been dropped. I really don't. Because if any other defender made these mistakes, he would be dropped. And away from home, he loses concentration. And I'm telling you, Mateta, even though Nketiah and Mateta are not in good form and Palace can't score, if Mateta will give him a game, he will bully him. So he has to be on his best level or performance because Palace, although they're not playing that well, they still have players that can hurt you. They have Mateta, they have Eze.
We have quite a good record at Selhurst Park, so I'm expecting that to continue. Stefan, prediction for this game?
Screw it. 2-1 Palace.
2-1 Palace. Owen, yours? I'm
going to go the other way. I'm going to go 2-1 Spurs.
West Ham, Man United, big game, lads. Both managers under pressure. It's fair to say that Mourinho made more headlines last night than Ten Hag did. You know what that's like. Mourinho actually, I think he's begging to come back to the Premier League, and he doesn't care what team it's with. He's missing it. I think the Premier League media is missing him as well. But I mean,
You could
what's your
just
thoughts
see
before we get into the game? What was your thoughts on the Mourinho thing last night, Owen? Because it was
it.
very strange.
It was weird, but it's just what he does. It's just Mourinho. That he's funny to watch. He's just a comedy character at this point, doesn't he?
He's
He's
not
just
enjoying it in Turkey. Obviously, he wants to come back to the Premier League.
no, but who would take him? Like a top
would
team
take
would take
Hey,
him.
West Ham could take him.
West Ham would take him.
Yes.
Newcastle.
Don't know.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think his ego would let him drop any further than that.
No,
I don't
my
think he
dream,
would go
guys.
back at
My
Palace or
dream.
Wolves.
My dream would be Jose Mourinho at Everton. That would be amazing.
Oh,
But sure, he wouldn't go there.
Carlo Ancelotti did.
Carlo Ancelotti did
Have
so.
money then. Ancelotti bankrupted them nearly.
No, but he said in that press conference that he'd like to go back to a lower club team, and I think Everton is.
I think he was referencing. I think he meant West Ham.
I think Everton or Nottingham Forest. I would say Nottingham Forest are because their owner likes to spend big bucks.
I don't think his ego would take him there. I think it would have to be a West Ham or a
No, but
Newcastle.
his ego would look at Everton, Forest, glorious, heritage, a lot of history from back in the day. Now they're really kind of down. Nottingham Forest were relegated. Everton have been crap for a decade or for longer than a decade. If I can go there and kind of uplift those type of teams, that will be an even bigger achievement. People will rate me even more. So I think he'd take it as a massive challenge and as a proof to the English media that he's not finished. I think, honestly, I do think Everton and Forest are very kind of, especially Forest guys. The Forest owner spends.
But the owner would fall out over.
Oh, for sure. But the first 2 years are going to be amazing. And who doesn't miss his press conferences? Like when he said about the ref, like, this is the best ref in the world. Like I've never seen a guy being able to see me on the sideline and also see the actual.
He is brilliant in front of a camera. Owen, your prediction for this game, because both managers are under pressure. And I think if there was a loser in this game, you're really under pressure because you've only got a couple more games for an international break. I do feel that we're approaching the time for Ten Hag that this next international break is going to be a graveyard for him. I think if results don't turn in the next couple, unless he gets some sort of consistency, I really think he's going to be under serious pressure in that November international break. And as bad as West Ham have been at times this season, you just still expect this to be a difficult game for Man United.
Yeah, but West Ham are missing Kudos as well, which is a big blow for them. So, but you know what? I'm gonna go for a 1-1 draw on this one.
I'm gonna go the same. I'm gonna go for a 0-0 draw. Actually, a 0-0 draw.
United don't keep clean sheets, and
I disagree with you guys. I think West Ham are going to beat them because Man United cannot score to save their lives, especially without Bruno. I've been highly, highly disappointed by Xerxes. Every time I watch this guy, he's super slow on the ball.
He looks lazy.
I've never seen such a soft.
He doesn't fit the Premier League.
He really doesn't. Like, I completely agree with this now. Like, because before there were reports in Italy where they were worried that he wouldn't suit it. For such a kind of a chunky guy, he's a big guy physically. He plays so finesse and soft. He has zero aggression in him. And he's not particularly good at finishing. He's not particularly good at shooting. Yeah, he builds up play. But Højlund is a far bigger threat than him. I think that was a big waste of money, and they can't score. If you watch them against Fenerbahce for 70 minutes of that game were by far the better footballing team. And West Ham, don't forget, still have Bowen, still have Paqueta, far better attacking players than any of
the problem as well that United have, right? They've got West Ham away, and then they've got Chelsea at home next week. I know I'm skipping cup games here, but these are the games that I think are crucial. Chelsea at home next week.
Chelsea suck.
Home to Leicester before the break. I think if he doesn't get at least 2-1s out of those three, it'll be curtains for him.
We said this in the last international break, guys. The guy is.
This one's about different because there's no break. There's no break now until March. There's no break.
Guys, the number one candidate that they wanted is now the New England coach. So they have no other.
But I think they'll just give it to Van the short end of the season anyway.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling they want to go for Kieran McKenna.
Well, there's 90. I think 90% of United's fans now you're saying the team's unwatchable. They're not enjoying it. They're not even winning. Most weeks,
Gareth,
the football's poor.
I watched Fenerbahce against Man United. Okay,
So did that.
the fact that Man United, I know we take the piss, but I grew up in the Arsenal Man United era. I grew up when they were under Ferguson. To watch him play Mazraoui at the number 10 position, this is Man United.
His head's gone.
I know they've been crap since he's left, but that was an absolute joke. And what Ten Hag has done with this squad is literally taken a shit squad that was under Mourinho and under Van Gaal before that, and somehow made it worse.
We are running out of time, so quick predictions for this game. Sorry,
prediction. I'm gonna go for a 1-0, a 2-1 win to West Ham.
I'm going 1-1, and you're going. No, I'm going 0-0. You're going 1-1. All right.
Yeah.
And that's finally your predictions for the big game. We've already spoke about it, so just give me your predictions for this game. Start with you, Owen.
Owen, you go.
1-1.
1-1. Stefan?
Sadly, because of the injuries, I think it's going to be 1-1 also.
Yeah. I'll make it a full house 1-1 as well. I believe it will be a 1-1 draw. Boys, thanks very much for a really, really good podcast. Some really good insight there. I know we stayed on slightly longer than we says, but always difficulty stopping time with these boys because your input's that good. But we will be back on Monday night, I think. And we'll do the review show of the weekend. And we'll
let's just hope we're not depressed now after Derry.
And that's it. We'll be back on Monday with the review show, and we'll build up to the League Cup game. So, these boys got we have Man City on the Cup next week.
We have Brighton.
So goodbye to the League Cup then, Gareth. Huh?
We'll beat Man City.
Oh my God. You're like Ty off AFTV, I swear.
Boys, thanks very much for watching the podcast. We'll be back next week. If you're new around here, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more content. Boys, thanks very much, and I'll see you very soon.
See you later.
Thank you, guys.